Welcome back and Happy New Year. Today I wanted to take you along as we move our pigs around the pasture. We have been rotationally grazing our pigs since we got them a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to show you guys exactly what that looked like and why we are doing that. But first, let me change into my pig moving clothes. That's better. The number one rule when going into the pig pen is to not wear nice clothes because they are not going to come out looking nice. First things first, we're gonna head in the garage and get our secondary fence, and I'll show you exactly why we need a second fence for this operation once we get out there. Hey, pig. Hey, pig. What are you doing, pig? Say hello. Say hello. So we have been rotationally grazing our pigs since we got them here on our property back in November. We were averaging about 7 days on each plot when they were a little bit smaller and while the land was a little bit drier, but the older and bigger that they've gotten, more of a footprint that they put into the ground, and with us being in a rainier season, they are not staying on plots near as long. So our plan for rotating them through our pasture this far has been for both the health of the pigs, getting them off of the area that they've been pooping and peeing and rooting up just helps keep them safer from disease and parasites. And also it has been really beneficial to our land because we are adding their fertilizer. They are tilling up the top few layers of the soil and putting in their deposits of poop and pee, and then whenever we come back and cover the area with the hay, we are reseeding the ground. So we are essentially building up our soil in every paddock that we move them to. Our goal for this upcoming year is to expand our garden area. You may have seen in previous videos that we have 14 raised garden beds that we built this past growing season, and we are ready to expand onto the ground about 20-ish feet off of it for some market row style garden beds this upcoming growing season. We also wanted to ready some of our soil and ground area for our fruit orchard that we plan on putting in this winter as well. We have some trees that have been in pots for almost 2 years now, and we have several other trees that are going to be shipped to us within the next couple weeks. So we wanted to go ahead and get this ground cleared, get it fertilized, get it good and ready for us to put our fruit trees and other fruit bushes onto so that they can go ahead and start establishing roots and get going for this upcoming year. So each time that we have moved the pigs off of the area that they've been, we have dispersed their bedding, which we've used some old hay, and we have brought in other hay to put down and cover the ground because we don't want any of our soil exposed. Covered soil is nutritious soil. That way the microbiomes and the bug activity that's underneath the soil can do its work, and they do their best work whenever they are good and cool and covered from the sun. So each time we've moved them, we have gone and covered the entire area with the hay, which is not only protecting the soil, but it's also depositing seeds from the hay into the ground so that eventually in the spring, once the seeds start to germinate, we will have luscious pasture grass out here on our field. Another benefit to rotationally grazing your animals is not only keeping them out of their own filth, but it also helps to cut down on the smell. If you live close to neighbors that might be in a downwind from your farm, you don't want them to have to smell all of the terrible smells. And if you've ever been around a pig pen, they stink. So by moving them how we are, we're able to get them off of their funk every couple days, put the hay down, and there's virtually no smell out here. Now, eventually our plan is to move them into the woods, still having separate paddocks that we can move them back and forth to where they're not wallowing out one paddock more than the other. But for now, this rotationally grazing with this temporary electric net fencing has been working great for so many reasons. So typically we would move them in a square pattern going from right front to right back to left front, then left front to right front, if that makes sense. I'll try and do like an overhead diagram for you. This is because the way that the fence opens up, you can do it where you can bring a second fence up and open one side of the previous fence and they can just walk right in. This prevents them from taking off and getting out, especially if you're working them by yourselves. Thankfully, our pigs are very personable and they want to be where I am. They have gotten out of the fence once before, but as soon as I shook the food or made the pig call, they just came running right back. So I'm not really concerned if they do get out of the fence, but keeping them contained is preferable. As I mentioned, we have had a lot of rain. We have a lot of standing water right now, so I'm gonna probably go more of like a rectangle pattern off of the pen that they're in right now. You can see that standing water that's right there. So I'm going to try not to include that in the pen so that we can make this spot last a little bit longer than the one that they're in from this week. The sun is going down pretty quickly. I want to try and record all of this for you guys to show you how easy it is, hopefully how seamless it is. It usually is pretty seamless. To show you that you don't have to have permanent pastures, you don't have to have a permanent pig pen, and you can keep pigs on any plot of land without too much smell and without too much mess. Okay, so in effort to avoid some of the water, even though at this point it's impossible to avoid the water because there's just water everywhere out here, but to avoid most of the water, I have set them kind of diagonally off of their last enclosure here. So the opening is actually over here. So ideally you would want to have your next pasture right here off of them so that you can just open that wall and let them into this area. But as you can see, they've already been on this area. With the amount of water that we've had, we've been off of our normal rotation, but it's okay. We can still get them from here into this new pasture, which you can see has lots of lovely green grass. They're gonna be really happy about it. I don't expect this is gonna last very long. There is a lot more grass in this pen than their previous pen, so maybe a few more days, but there still is a lot of water in here, so I can imagine it's gonna be a mud pit before we know it. No, wrong way. Come on, pick, 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 pick. Pick, 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 pick. This is the kind of mud you have to be really careful in because it will pull your boot off and you can fall down, which would not be fun. They are secured in this front pasture now. You can see where the gate comes together there. I have a strand that I'll tie around there to close that gap. Then we'll connect one of the arms that the fence has. I'll show you up close on this one. These little arms, you just connect to the other side of the fence, and that keeps the circuit of the electric net going all the way through. So I'm going to pick up my first piece, put my hand through the middle here, turn it sideways. Then I'm going to pick up the next piece, turn it the same way, put my hand in the middle. And then I'm just going to continue doing that all the way around, keeping the fence draped down this side and holding the posts all the same way in the middle of the post. And this is going to help the fence from tangling up, and whenever you come back out to lay the fence, you can drop them one piece at a time and not have to worry about them getting caught up on anything. If it is muddy out, this is the part that is going to cause you to get a little bit messy. So don't plan on going anywhere special after you're done moving pigs until you've had a shower. So I'm going to spread a little hay inside of their shelter, and then I will come back and spread hay on top of the area that they were just on. You can see this nice dark area, a little piggy pond there. We're just going to cover with several inches of hay. I usually use about 3 bales of hay to cover the area that they were just in, including their leftover bedding from before. So it is the next day. I ran out of camera, battery, and sunlight last night. So they are all set and ready to go in this area. There is some standing water, as you guys might can see. I don't know if you guys can do that. Yep. Again, that's something that we can't really avoid at this moment because it's just been so wet and our ground just stays really saturated. It's just going to be that way during the winter. I did also get their previous paddock covered with a good heavy mulch of hay, probably a good 6 inches or so. Stay tuned for our video where we're going to show you guys how we're going to carve out this wood line back here and put our pigs into the woods, hopefully here in the very near future. For now, we're going to let these piggies just keep rooting and rolling and eating and pooping and doing what pigs do here on this section. I hope that this was informational for you and showed you how you can have pigs on any kind of land without any permanent fixtures and without too much smell or mess. For us, mud is inevitable during the winter, but during the spring and summer months, this is going to be prime real estate for some pasture for our other grazing animals that we should hopefully be bringing on in this upcoming year, and also for our orchard and our garden expansion, as I mentioned before. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you have not already, and we will see you guys on the next video. Bye!